Yeah. Yeah. I know they mad for no reason. I'm holding on to change my life. Gotta move fast for a reason. I'm holding on to change my life. Huddling. I'm staring at charts until I retire. Yeah. Huddling. I'm staring at charts until I retire. Oh, 700K, I'm selling a Bitcoin. Haters mad, but they listen to this one. More profit coming to my direction. Yeah, you know me, I don't need a mention. I got the remedy, ooh, yeah. They don't just follow me, ooh, yeah. You say allegedly, ooh, yeah. You would subscribe to me, ooh, yeah. Staring at chart, drawing a line. Make a decision, you out of time. Huddling, huddling, huddling. I'm staring at charts until I retire. Yeah. Huddling, huddling. I'm staring at charts until I retire. Yeah. See on stage. OnChain Revolution. Done this. Phone.
Welcome back to OnChain Revolution. My name is Shizzy. On this channel, we cover the entire crypto ecosystem. What's up, guys? We have an amazing show for you guys today. We're live for the OnChain Hour, and right now we have Bitcoin sitting just above 102. I do believe the bottom is in. I think that we have been here for a little while, and it might take some time to kind of fully get out of here, but I do see 107 by the end of the week. I think that is going to be a really good spot to kind of really start pushing forward to kind of get back to that 115, 116 before full takeoff by the end of the month. I think there's plenty of catalysts to kind of look into to kind of see why Bitcoin and risk on assets can catapult. And that main reason right now is the government shutdown kind of maybe ending, whether that's through Trump doing the nuclear button, which basically says no more filibusters, or the Democrats kind of jump in and finally give up. But I don't think that's going to happen. I do think we might go to the nuclear option. We'll talk about that a little bit. We're going to have, potentially we're going to talk about ZCASH and potentially could it be the next Bitcoin. I mean, honestly, the way it seems like Bitcoiners are now leaving Bitcoin, some of these whales, and buying up crap tons of Zcash. We're going to talk about that. And, just the overall market. Not very long show today because, there isn't much to talk about. But if you guys want to get in the comments, and feel free to ask us anything you would like to ask us to kind of get things going forward, to kind of have a little bit of spice in the show. Just let us know. But without further ado, bring my partner here, as always, Mr. Yagobi. What's up, buddy?
What's up? What's up? What's up?
What's up, man? A very boring day in the markets. Not much going on. How are you feeling with everything?
I feel okay. Obviously, Bitcoin got below 100K. That never feels good. But it did rally a bit yesterday. But I wasn't trying to get too excited about that rally, just because I know how things have been lately. Right, very volatile is I think the best way to put it. And so I need that consistency, that week straight of an uptrend of strength. And until then, just kind of pay attention to the headlines, new developments in this overall space, the Web3 space in general, because there's a lot of developments happening. And so those, I think they need to be paid attention to, because a lot of Web 2 corporations and a lot of big players in Web 3 are definitely building and doing things that are important.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll see what comes out of that. The rally you're talking about is from 98 to about 104 yesterday. It was, in my opinion, that was just buy the dip opportunity for a lot of people. But right now, I feel like there is still a buy the dip opportunity. I think the DCAer wins here. The person who's just constantly DCAing each week, putting a couple $100 in every single week, is going to be probably the winner going forward here. I do think that, if we're sitting here in March, April, and Bitcoin sitting at 250, 300 range, I'm in my head, I'm thinking these guys won. I mean, if you're buying right now, you're potentially going to be a winner. I just don't see how you can lose. like, you know, anything near here, in my opinion, I just can't see next year being a bear market year in any way. There's just too many potential catalysts.
Yeah, I agree with that part. You know, DCA has always been just, you know, this strategy that has worked over time, right? When you zoom out, and right now, I'm sure that people are tired of hearing that, but I feel like in these moments, it's probably the most useful right now because you're getting
Yeah.
things that are on discount. Obviously, you're getting the blue chips that are on discount, and that's the ones that, you know, the ones that have proven their longevity and their strength over time still being here. A lot of them, you know, obviously Bitcoin birthed in 2009, but a lot came out in 2013, 2012, that year, and then again all throughout the years leading up. And you know, if they're still here, that means that, you know, they have some strength. And so if those are on sale, I think that the DCA really comes into play here.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned from just blue chips, but I'm thinking further down the line. I think if you're DCAing in the stuff like Sonic, if you're DCAing the stuff like Dog, for instance, or even you know, Wilfi, even going down the line and getting in maybe even XPL. Do you think it's a good idea to be DCAing some of the stuff that is not considered blue chips?
I think it depends on your situation and your size that you're working with. Because if you are in pretty good size and you're in a comfortable situation, me personally, I think that you would shoot for the blue chips a little bit more, but then have, you know, your kind of you're gambling a little bit more with the riskier stuff. Now, if you're in a decent situation, you don't have as much size, then you probably, you know, can bet on some of these players that have proven themselves this year and the previous year that have the backing. You still need to do the research and figure out, you know, who's backing this. For example, with XPL, that's Plasma, that's a Tether. You know, Tether ain't going where, they only grow in strength over the years. Another example would be Hyperliquid. Hyperliquid is, you know, very strong, even though they're you know, pretty much newer in the past 2 years. Those are kind of that next level of, okay, you know, we can roll the dice a bit here. And I think both of those groups I just mentioned will play in that side. One will just play a little bit more because they want a little bit more upside, I think.
Yeah, 100%. But like I'm thinking more of it just, you know, $50 to $200 a week, right? Like when I was working, I did $300 every week in the different assets, and that's kind of reason why my Ordinals portfolio was so big. It was very risky, but I was buying, you know, 15, 20 bitmaps for $7, $8, $15, right? And then sold them at like 250. I think this is a really good time to pretty much I think you can get into a lot of different projects, but you are right though. You have to make sure the projects are solid. Like I believe, you know, a DCA into Sonic is a good idea. DCA into virtuals is a good idea. A DCA into you know, where the CEO is front facing, right? Where he's done interviews and he's out there and he's not going anywhere, right? That type of style. Like even Leonidas with Doc, someone who is not doxed, but you just know that, you know, what he's building with Ord.io could be a really good DCA opportunity there. So I think DCA is definitely the way right now. And if you know, as long as you're right, as long as you're doing it into projects that are going to be here next year.
Yeah, you know, because I think one area that DCA could get you in trouble is obviously like, you know, the Solana meme landscape, right? I think that's where you can get in trouble.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, right. And I mean, you brought up Dog, which is a meme coin, but the reason why you brought it up is because the fundamentals behind it and who's kind of behind that. So those are things that you got to look into, right? On the Solana side, I feel like, you know, that's pretty risky just because, you know, there's, you know, thousands of tokens being launched every single day. Liquidity is being split over there. While, you know, even though runes have gotten beat up pretty bad, there's some like people you can look to, right? You can look to Leonidas and say, okay, you know, if Dog is running into issues, I can go join the space and I can try to get on stage and ask a question. And then you have him rebranding Ord.io. I mean, Ord.io is going to still be there, but I guess more of having
a new company. Yeah.
Yeah, a new product, shiny product and showcase, and, you know, we definitely want to learn more about that, but it seems to be some sort of scaling product for runes, right? So there's infrastructure still being built out for the Bitcoin side of things, and some of these other areas that you're talking about with Sonic and Plasma infrastructure still being built out for those. It's who's backing them, right? You can even go into the Spark ecosystem. You can't get exposure to Spark yet, but directly, at least with a token. But there's other ways for you to do that, right? And you look into the research with that. You got David Marcus, the CEO of PayPal, Facebook history. I'm confident in that, right? Obviously, nothing is a for sure thing, but those are the kind of things I think that looking for that type of research whenever you're looking to DCA in these type of times, because it is an opportunity type of time right now.
Yeah, 100%. All right, let's move along here. Relief rally or bloodbath? Tariffs vanishing could ignite a massive crypto comeback. So we do know yesterday that the courts heard the arguments from the Trump administration and from some other, I guess, the people that are kind of against it, and they're going to make a conclusion. They're going to sit. They said it might take weeks to actually come up with a decision. Some are even saying that with the holiday season here, we might not hear anything until January or February about a ruling on this. So Trump's going to keep collecting the tariffs right now, but there is an option if the Supreme Court decides that Trump's tariffs are illegal in the way he did it, meaning he did this. I don't know. It was like this option he was able to do with like war or something with the tariffs or something. That's the argument, but he could go around the other way and use the nuclear option to get rid of the filibuster and actually have Congress agree to the tariffs using, they have all three branches of the government, so they're able to really make anything through as long as the filibuster doesn't get in the way. If they eliminate the filibuster, there's nothing that gets in his way.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things can happen at that point, right? Yeah, it's called the nuclear option for a reason. I think that there would be a lot of pushback for that situation. But at the end of the day, it's tough because there's a strategic plan to try to roll out whenever you come into office, and that's why they never really do roll out. You only get very, very small percentage of what you campaign for to actually be rolled out and in action. And it's because of the checks and balances, which are good, of course, right? But with that being said, look, I mean, I know the title says relief rally or bloodbath. The tariffs vanishing could create a crypto spark, but it could also do the opposite. You mentioned that in the pre-show, and because the worst part of this entire year has been uncertainty, right? At that point, we would have the most uncertainty, I think, for this entire year. The part to where you could be optimistic would be, okay, well, now a lot of these companies can save money. This could kind of spur the economy in this way, and news outlets, which are all controlled by like the globalists and all that stuff, they would feel good and probably be like, okay, now like the economy can turn up, all these things. And so there's two different directions it could definitely go in. Obviously, there's only two really options there, but if it does go into that upside, it could be pretty crazy to an upside, right? Depending on how the media spins it.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see what happens here. I'm actually thinking this is a relief rally. I think over the next probably 48 hours, we're going to see Bitcoin kind of climb to about 107. And I'm basically saying that because I think it's dangerous to go short right now. I really do. I just think that you're shorting against the wall, and if we do go down that low, I don't think we're going to get below 100K. You even see it right now sitting at 101.7. I just feel like this is again, this is just the shorts trying to get lucky here, but I do feel like a short squeeze is going to be ahead of us, and we'll be pushing back up to 107. Do you agree with that? Can you see 107 by, let's just say, Friday?
So the part I agree with is it is dangerous to short right now, just because it has been basically the theme the past week and a half is Bitcoin's bloody, it's continually going to head down, and you have a lot of large accounts on crypto Twitter pushing that type of energy out. And do I think it's done? Not necessarily, because it has only been a week and a half. I could see us kind of taking another fall back, just because like you said, people are probably in the mindset of, oh, this is like the bottom. This is where I'm going to take my longs. And some of them I think will be pretty safe, depending on how deep we dip, if that happens again. But I think we're close. I think we're close, right? So, you know, it is after the first week of November right now. I do think we got about a week and a half to 2 weeks left of uncertainty with Bitcoin and the crypto markets, a little bit back and forth, maybe another dip, and then, you know, really have a little bit of an aggressive uptrend to finish the month off. I could see something like that happening, and then going into December. I will say it's been really hard to forecast. That's been a really tough thing, right? So they don't want players to win for too long, though. I'll tell you that. So if the short, you know, if 2 weeks is too long for them to have the shorts, you know, continually pile up these wins and the money, then they'll flip the switch and they'll flip it hard.
Yeah, 100%. All right, let's jump into something that really has been the talk of the entire crypto space. So there's this thing, you know, a lot of people say it's, you know, there's always a bull market somewhere, and right now that bull market, it seems to be in privacy coins. Look at this chart for Zcash. It's just been something that has just been absolutely insane. I remember seeing it around like 300 and being like, damn, this thing has run a lot. But now we're sitting at 529. I've hit the all-time high now. Today actually was around 550, 549 area. What do you think about Zcash, man? Do you think, obviously I don't think you should top blast this thing, but what do you think about this? Do you think it has room to run?
You know, the meta has been kind of passive aggressive the past, well, this year actually in different spots, but really the past 2-3 weeks, I feel like it's been a passive aggressive meta because it was kind of simultaneously running with the X402 stuff a little bit before that. But right now, I mean, Zcash is on a burner, right? So I think Zcash has more room. I do, and you know, it depends on if the market all together kind of comes together, right, and we get aggressive to the upside. I do think that it can be one of the main winners heading into the end of the year. And we saw a couple winners last year, right? You saw, I think Cardano, ADA had a little bit of a win, but you saw Solana have a big win heading into the end of the year. So is Zcash that winner? So far, it looks pretty good for them. And we'll see if anybody else kind of catches up. But yeah, I think there's definitely room still to go up. Obviously, people are going to take profits, especially if it doesn't get better in the next 2 to 3 weeks. But look, all those people that really believed in this coin, man, imagine how they're feeling right now, right? It's crazy. You said that Bitcoiners are starting to buy into this though a little bit. So you know that, you know, Bitcoiners do like kind of the self-sovereignty. Well, in theory they do, right? And the privacy and all those type of things. So we'll see if they continue that trend.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing a lot of you know, a lot of Bitcoiners now are selling their Bitcoin and getting into Zcash because they're considering Bitcoin as this, you know, there's multiple factors. One of the factors is there is 3 mining companies that have 51% of the hash power, which is a little scary to them. And the other part of it is now it is a global BlackRock coin. BlackRock's going to be the ones that are going to be controlling it in the sense of where they want the price to go, because they're going to be holding so much of it because of their clients are these big billionaires and stuff like that. And not only that, but they have access to the ETF as well because it is their ETF. So I feel like a lot of the Bitcoiners that, you know, the old school ones who are hurt by, you know, the adoption of institutional adoption, meaning that this is not what Satoshi's vision was, they're looking at Zcash and saying, well, this isn't something institutions are going to adopt because it has that privacy aspect to it, to where, you know, maybe it is being used by guns, maybe it is being used to drugs, and they're not, these big corporations aren't willing to put themselves out there. With Bitcoin, at least you can track every transaction, and you know, whatever alt ramp you use, you're eventually going to get caught, right? There's really no way around it. You're eventually going to have to either figure out a way to change the way it is on the back end, right? You got to figure out, there's no way around it. You're going to get caught for using Bitcoin. But with something like Zcash, you don't know how much the person's sending. You don't know what wallet it's going to. You don't know anything when it comes to that. You just kind of see the transactions moving.
Yeah. And governments don't like that, obviously, right? But how long will it last until, governments start to attack Zcash, right? Our government's going to be using Zcash now that like crypto is the main thing, right? So, it's the same total max supply as Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
21 million. I think many copied Bitcoin
fork
back in those days. Yeah, right. And so, if you think about it that way and you see it at $500, you're almost kind of like, well, if this is gonna be, you know, a thing that sticks around that's gonna be really popular is this cheap. You know what I mean? I don't know. You're kind of rolling the dice there. I think not for this, you know, next 6 to 12 months necessarily. It could go to $1,000 or 1,500. I'm just talking about long term. But you know, people probably said that to the people that bought it at $50, right? So you know, they're sitting in a good spot right now. How do you feel about Zcash? Do you feel like it's a good opportunity still, or do you think it's you're priced out?
I feel like I should get like 5 and just lock them
Just in
a
case.
wallet and just forget I have them. Like that's kind of where I'm at with it. It's just like, it's one of those things where maybe I'm buying the top here, but if I have a long-term outlook of 10, 20 years, then it doesn't matter what the price is, because as long as like the government does not fully, you know, outlaw it, but even if it does outlaw it, I feel like it could still do really well. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just feel like that could be like the, you know, the establishment, the anti-establishment coin, right? And that could just do well doing buying and selling, you know, in the outskirts and stuff. I don't know, but it's one of those things where it's one of those things. I don't want to not have any if it does go to like 60, 70K.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it can kind of take that Bitcoin, the place of Bitcoin back in the early 2010s, right? To where it was like cypherpunk against
Yeah,
the
exactly.
government type of mentality. And then, you know, but you have Monero, but Monero hasn't been able to really accomplish that. It seems like everybody likes Zcash a lot better. Obviously, Monero did have the 51% attack, but
Exactly.
any chain can do that if it's, you know, maneuvered, you know, that's built the way that these are, right? The proof of work chains, right? But you know, as long as there's a healthy miner network, then, you know, and you're paying attention to that, and that's maybe why people are staying away from Monero. They're like, that should have never happened. They should have made sure that their network was healthy.
Well, I mean, it's not up to the network, right? If you just take the you know, the bit miners and you just push them onto these networks, you potentially get that hash power. There's nothing no one can do about it except start buying more mining machines and adding, you know, to the good side, right? I guess you would say, or decentralizing it a little bit more. Zcash seems to be a little different in the aspect of, you know, it's really kind of, you know, the hash power is not easily, like, it's everywhere. You would need tons of miners to come online and kind of get that. But let's move it along. The government shutdown is something that, you know, if you turn on CNBC, it's like every conversation. Let's just say they're talking about Google, and it's like, well, government shutdown, and then they're talking about Nvidia, government shutdown. And they talk about, you know, the Russell 500, and they come back to the government shutdown. It's just kind of ridiculous that it's almost everywhere. So it's kind of like, when will it end? And right now, everyone's saying November 8th to the 11th. 22%, the 12th to the 15th, 29%, but the 16th and after is actually at 49%. So everyone's thinking it's going to be after the 16th. Well, you know, 49% is going to be thinking it's at the, you know, after the 16th. Where do you think this ends? Do you think we go past the 16th?
I almost was thinking about putting $100 on the 4th through 7th because the nuclear option. I was like, but then even if he did do the nuclear option, you still have to go through the procedures and stuff. So that's why that's obviously at 1%. Yeah, I mean, you know, the 8th through 11th could be something. You know, obviously the past the 16th is where most people think, but I wouldn't be shocked if it's one of the two above that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I would love for it to be the 8th to 11th, which is, you know, Friday through Monday. That would be over the weekend. It seems like they do get stuff done on the weekends. I feel like sometimes they're just like, we just want to go home. Like, it's just like, let's just get it done. So we'll see. But it wouldn't shock me to go into December. I feel like, you know, the Democratic Party, they're to them, it's like, we're getting the healthcare. For whatever reason, whatever kickbacks the Obamacare has or whatever it is, that they want that live. So all right. So this is a tweet from the guys over at Wintermute. They basically came out and they said liquidity drives crypto cycles, and now the money has stopped flowing in. So Wintermute now is kind of saying, hey, like, there's nothing no one can do. They're saying stable coins, ETFs, and DATs have grown from 180 billion to 560 billion since early 2024, but the momentum has slowed. They're saying that, you know, there is no more DATs. So that corporation buying has stopped drastically. Capital is rotating internally, not entering fresh. Rallies die fast, and it basically everything's narrowing down. So this is the chart they have here, and this is the month to month, and the light green is the ETF, the darker green is the DATs, and the white is stable coins. And as you can see, November, you're seeing stable coin supply just kind of go sideways here. The DATs really just sideways, and the ETFs just kind of dropping a little bit. But this is Wintermute now, who's being very transparent on their thought process here. Every single day, they're putting out a new tweet and a new on their website.
The number one villain of the cycle is being very transparent. No, I'm just kidding. This is data that they are pulling up, right? And it's interesting because you do see where the DAT starts to go really sideways, and I would say probably 4 months back from like starting maybe in July, really, because that didn't change as the total I guess liquidity increased a little bit. And so, but no shocker there, though. You and I talked about the dangerous aspects of DATs, right? Like, to their credit, though, like, they're from TradFi, so they're not as degenerate as the people from our space from last cycle, the 3 Arrows Capital and stuff like that. So they have to pump the brakes because they're in TradFi. They can get charges thrown at them pretty quickly, right? If something bad happens. And so what does this mean, in my opinion, is that the Fed needs to really get to work on getting some liquidity back out into the economy, and go into quantitative easing and stuff like that. Now, that's easier said than done. Obviously, they have their kind of metrics that they go by, but I feel like they've been a little bit lost too. They're kind of like, well, this is all new, so we need to figure out like how it affects this and that. So it's more uncertainty is basically what it is, right? So we need certainty that we are going to go into risk on, and we're just not there, and that's why I think the liquidity is dried up.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But so calling these guys the enemy now, or the evil, I used to feel that way, like really, really strongly to that way. But now I've been doing some digging and I'm trying to understand market makers, how they work, and they have a job to do, right? And their job is to make the markets, stable. And by doing that, you're not dumping, so much at one place. So what these big exchanges do, and I mentioned this yesterday, but the big exchanges, like, let's just say you have 10,000 Bitcoin in your wallet. You wake up one day and then you send that all to Coinbase Prime. You cash out. You're done. Well, now Coinbase Prime is sitting on 10,000 Bitcoin now, and a lot less cash than they had. So they need to be ready for the next person to come in and actually do that. So what they have to do is they use something like Wintermute, and they'll send those 10,000 Bitcoin to Wintermute, and Wintermute will take 1,000 from, they'll break it up and they'll send 1,000 to each exchange, and they dump it all at the same time, right? It's kind of a correlated dump, and their job is to make sure that when they do it, they do it in a very safe way, and that seems to be what they're doing. And then Binance will do the same. There's a bunch of other exchanges that use them as well. So it's kind of like, calling them the bad guy, but then, you have to realize they're filling a need in the markets, right?
Yeah, they have a job, like you said, obviously. And whenever things number don't go up and number go down, people are looking to blame somebody, right? And what can you do? People can do research on chain and see things and then put it out there, and then now there's this narrative of the big boogeyman, right? Look, don't get it twisted though. Like a lot of these larger entities, they're making lots of money during the time where retail's getting hurt, but they have to maintain their operations, right? Like they can't not make money ever. You know what I mean? Like if they do, that it has to be a very short period of time. So the Binances, they fund tons of stuff, Coinbase, all that stuff, right? So that's why they have all these products in place and stuff like that. So, at the end of the day, the market is just not like, has not been like in good conditions for our space. At the end of the day, that is the true statement. It's, we have not been in risk on environment this entire year. And until we get there, we're not going to fill it consistently.
Yeah, 100%. Superfan said, I've been talking to a handful of market makers the past few months for my future TGE. Most feel very shady and probably are the bad guy. I think Wintermute is one of the most transparent. So they get a lot of fingers pointed at them. But you're right. They serve a purpose. Exchanges won't even talk to a project without a market maker deal. Yeah, I mean that's what it is, right? They want to make sure there's volume because the exchange makes money through volume. And then if your token's just sitting there flat, and someone can come in and dump 2% of it, and then all hell breaks loose, especially if there's perps, right? So it's one of those things where market makers are they're needed in a way. And then Stan says many were speculating ICP was being manipulated. How far can this rip? So I don't think ICP is getting manipulated. I think ICP is kind of like doing its thing. Do you think ICP is getting manipulated? It's doing really well right now.
Was there any specific reason why they've jumped up so much? I mean, they're up 29% on the day, and I know they have been
Caffeine AI. So Rand was on. Rand made crypto bubbles live on stream using caffeine AI.
Wow, that's crazy! Like the whole platform.
Whole platform.
Wow, that's wild. So, yeah,
I think people are waking up to ICP as a way. But yeah,
and WebJoe says it was manipulated down.
I mean, I don't see any down.
No, he's talking about the past couple of years. How ICP's kind of been like one of those that. Well, I mean, it was manipulated down when it launched. Remember that? I think FTX and that whole group was a big supporter of ICP in the launch, and then it went from $500 to like $100, and then it kept going down. So it's kind of like the XRP situation. Happy for the ICP people that have been holding for a very, very long time. It's at $6.65. Maybe it was not $500 when it launched. Maybe it was like 120 or something, but it was over $100 for sure. But hey, good news on the caffeine AI. I kind of wish they launched that whenever we were in Odin, because remember that meme coin that was based on that? I was like, when is caffeine AI coming? And he should have said next year, because that's about how long it took.
Yeah, it's definitely here now. People are using it. We're starting to wake up to. I mean, it's built on ICP, right? There's an AI built on ICP that's able to create you any DApp that you want. It's really cool. I was actually messing with it, and I'll go that a different time though. All right, let's kind of jump into some other stuff here. So, new alliance forming across chain. So this is actually really, really awesome. I was actually looking into this morning. So this is new alliance. So Fireblocks, Polygon Labs, Mistin Labs, that's SUI, Monad, Solana, Stellar, and Ton Foundations are teaming up to standardize cross-chain payments, aiming to unify the stablecoin rails, remittances, and on-chain settlements across ecosystems. Think global payment rails of crypto. And this is kind of what it's going to look like here. Kind of just like basically, if you want to do a payment on SUI and you're on, let's just say, Ton, they're going to make it happen all through this cross payment network that they're creating.
I imagine that these grow pretty large, right? Because you probably want bigger players as well, like to continually join your network. But I think it's cool that they're starting this, because I think the last situation that we would want as users, and especially for normies, is to have like 20 of these. You know what I mean? And then they can't be cross compatible with each other. You know what I mean? You have to go to like another net, like this network away from BSC or something like that. So I imagine there'll probably only be a couple of these eventually, right? Maybe they dwindle it down eventually to like 2 or 3. I'd love to just have one huge one, but I don't think we're probably going to get that. But
that's what they're doing. They're doing one huge one.
Yeah. Between those 6, though, how many other environments are there?
Well, no, they're creating it. So these are the teams that are basically funding it, basically, right? It's not just going to be them. It's going to be completely cross-chain on everything.
I thought that was the network there with all those guys.
No. This is just an image that I created, but this is kind of, it's kind of going over, kind of seeing what it'll be like. A very cross-chain, and just anywhere you need to go. Potentially in the future. So it could start off on one chain and go through 3 or 4 different chains before it gets to the place, but it'll have that kind of built into it to where, it's just say Fireblocks goes to Stellar or Solana goes to Ton. It'll be kind of like, in that sense, it would just be like, it would just be shooting through all these different chains.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, so they'll be creating this for EVM and everything,
Yeah.
basically, and you can use it for everything. Yeah, that's what we need for sure.
Mhm. All right, moving along. YouTube told Decrypt that its updated online gambling policy, effective November 17th, only targets gambling websites and won't affect crypto gaming or Web3 content. So this was a big thing happened last Thursday. Wendy O actually was the first person I seen said something about it, and she was a little worried because obviously that's her livelihood and ours too. So it's one of those things where it was a little worrying at first, but they put out this big thing and it did say cryptocurrency inside of it. But when you put the whole thing in ChatGPT and start asking it questions like I did, it basically said as long as you're not showing like live gambling, like let's just say I
Like
think Pump That Fun, I think even Pump That Fun could
Yeah.
be a problem to this. So as long as you're not showing like online casinos and stuff like that, then I think you should be fine. Or even like even like raffling sites would probably be against it as well. But so what would have to happen is they're gonna have to come out with a bunch of sites that you're not allowed to use in your streams. And and then basically have the AI say, hey, okay, this is in that stream, this is in that stream. But I'm pretty sure they're going to be transparent about which ones, instead of just like giving everyone strikes.
Yeah, well, they'll probably put the list out or the guidelines,
Mhm.
and then people will get warnings right after that. But it's kind of the opposite of Kick. Kick is actually a lot of their advertisers are actually like online casinos
Yeah.
and stuff like that, which is crazy. So YouTube, I guess, wants to be a bit cleaner on that aspect of things, which is great that they're not coming after the Web3 space specifically, though. So
Yeah. And there's people like on YouTube Shorts and stuff. What they'll do is they'll like, I just did DoorDash for 2 hours. I made $187. I'm gonna put that all on a hand of blackjack. Like that content has been exploding throughout. I think they want to like kind of get rid of that type of stuff because it's not healthy for kids, right? Especially ones who are just coming out of high school and stuff like that, being like, oh wow, I can gamble
make
my
this
whole
money, yeah.
paycheck. Yeah, and then 90% of them are going to lose their paycheck, right? Because that's just kind of
Yeah, I wonder if they're gonna shut down like the sports betting channels and stuff that kind of give tips and stuff, because that's obviously in that same category.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're going to be coming for that. I think they want to get away from the gambling area, which I don't know. Is that a good idea or a bad idea?
I mean, people will probably go to Kick to watch it if they
Twitch, Kick, yeah.
if they really want to watch it.
And Rumble seems to be growing. Like they're saying, hey, anyone can come here. So they want the streamers from YouTube to going to go there. So all right, so Ethereum ETF and Bitcoin ETF saw another day of outflow yesterday, with 137 million in Bitcoin, 118 million in Ethereum. Meanwhile, Solana quietly accumulating another day, another $9 million of inflows for Solana. We talked about it yesterday, but yesterday was only like 3 days in. Now it's going 4 days. Do you think this continues? Outflows on the big boys and money going into Solana.
Yeah, like I said, I think Solana is the next one to take that spotlight. Right,
Yeah.
first Ethereum took it away from Bitcoin. It took some time, but then Ethereum had its moment for sure. And then like I mentioned before, I think there's going to be a face for the Solana side as well. You have Saylor with Bitcoin, Tom Lee with Ethereum, and then I think someone's going to be really bullish about Solana's ETF or whatever, and come up. Maybe not, I don't know, but I have a feeling there will be, because it is taking the inflows, right? And the other ETFs that got approved aren't seeing the same amount of inflows as Solana is right now. And we're just kind of getting started with that. So I think the biggest thing to look at is how much of a like increase of inflow do we see? Does it get pretty crazy like Ethereum and Bitcoin saw, right? And then if it does, we're definitely going to see a face. Someone's going to come forward and be like a spokesperson for it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I want to see how long it continues. I think this can go like 15, 20 days. I mean, we've seen this before. We've seen this when Bitcoin was selling off, in January, maybe even late December, and then you saw an inflow into pretty much into Ethereum, and then Ethereum was like getting beat down, and they were still funneling in. Tom Lee was one of the ones buying in March at the basically the cycle low. And he's definitely profited at the cycle high. So I will see. But let's move along though. Justin Sun withdrew 154 million of ETH 45,000 ETH from AAVE and deposit it in a Lido. He currently holds 534 million ETH in public wallets, even more he holds than Tron. So he holds more ETH than Tron right now, which is insane. He has about $1 billion just in ETH and Tron, which is absolutely crazy. But he's taking them in Lido.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Why he's doing it is because he wants to passively make money in a strong system, and Ethereum's going to be stronger than Tron, you know. And so, I'm not shocked with that, right? And so he's really, I mean, that's what these whales are doing right now, is that they're buying Ethereum, they're staking it, and they're trying to earn as much as they can with their size, and that's what they're doing, and it makes complete sense.
And there's been a lot of DeFi hacks or exploits lately. I think this is kind of something with that. Maybe he's a little worried about AAVE. Do you think? Because he you know, or but I mean, with Lido, I think Lido is basically you're just locking it up in a validator, right? They're locking it up in validators, and they're giving you staked Lido, which is redeemable 1-to-1 to regular ETH, but it's staked, right? So if you want it, you have to actually like queue out, or you can dump it on the market for a smaller price, right? Cheaper price. But you know, it's you know, I think it actually might be around fair price. But yeah, I think it's a good call from him.
Yeah, I wonder if I don't think it's necessarily him being too scared of AAVE. AAVE has like a pretty big reputation, and they have a centralized product too for institutions as well. So if their decentralized product gets hit, I think it would look bad, really bad on them. Even, you know, if their centralized product is completely controlled by them in every aspect, you still take a brand hit if that were to happen. And so I think he's probably getting some benefit somehow, you know, with better percentage or something with Lido to do that, right? Whatever he's doing, he's winning by doing it. I can assure you that.
I mean, 4% of $500 million is a ton of money for sure.
Yes.
All right, let's kind of get into the Bitcoin price action and crypto bubbles here. Kind of see what Bitcoin is doing right now. I'm seeing just above 100. Oh man, getting a little worried here. Oh, what do you think? What are you thinking?
No, because we just saw that like 2 days ago. So if it didn't happen 2 days ago, then I would be like how I was 2 days ago. You remember how I was 2 days ago? I was like, I'm getting anxiety just like looking at it. So yeah, I don't really have any anxiety today about it. I mean, if it happens, it happens. You know, I think we're gonna just keep going to this back and forth. You know, it's like we dip down this day and people are in more fear, and then the next day we have a relief rally, and that will continue until the catalyst that we need to happens, right? Government opens back up, we go into QE, we give some strength and confidence to the markets, and right now that's just not the case. But yep, before we get into the Bitcoin price action, help us out, guys, on the YouTube side. Smash that like for us and subscribe to the channel. Turn your notifications on so you know when we go live every single day. And on the X side, let's share the space. Let's get as many people in here as possible. Same thing with all of our platforms. We appreciate each and every one of you guys for watching. Let's get into some price action here. I'm not going to start with the daily chart. I'm going to start with the hour chart, which is going to look bad as well. Yeah, I mean, whoop, bam, relief rally, we're back, and then bam. So, I mean, it's kind of the same story that we've seen during like sell down periods, right? So, you know, we were able to get back up to 104, almost 105. Yes, was this yesterday? Yeah, yep, yesterday evening, and you know, the second half of the evening just kind of started that downtrend. This is crazy though. Like whenever they're wanting to take it down, they let us know for sure. I mean, this is like a very, very strong hour candle here. I mean, it is what we got, about 16 minutes left. I'm pretty sure majority of this is going to stay red. So let's take a look here at the stochastics. Looks like it wants to stay in this area, right? So definitely see a strong possibility of breaking under 100K for today. Same thing with the MACD, just looking very, very selly is what I would say. And you can go and you can even see right here. I mean, yeah, it's a little bit more balanced, but it's very thin liquidity, low volume. So this could be pushed down very, very quickly. And then if you see down below here, it's pretty lopsided. I mean, you see a lot of resistance just really, you know, probably going to be overwhelming and continually push this down. So that's why I feel like, second half of today probably see going below 100K. 100K is a big, psychological hurdle, but we got below it 2 days ago, right? So no shock there if we do get below 100K. And this time, since it's the second time, it might be a little bit more deep, right? So we'll see what happens though. But that is what I'm, expecting, is to break down below 100K. It's pretty easy. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to feel that way today. And you see the 4-hour chart here, buy pressure breaking down. So that relief rally broke down very, very quickly. It looks like we're heading straight down on stochastics as well. So we're just going to have another leg, it looks like here. But it'll be interesting to see how far we go down. If we do kind of hang around these wicks, it could start a sideways. So that's something to keep your mind on as well. And the wick theory definitely, playing out here, it seems like. So we'll see if we get at least to this kind of previous wick area, which is 98,900. And if we break down below that and we actually create another leg to the downside. So something to, keep your eye on today. If we break below 100,000, looks like we're trying to fight here on the hour chart though. We're trying to fight because we were a little bit lower here, but we'll see what happens. I mean, there's not very many buy bids on that side. The daily looks not good, still in daily sell pressure. So going back to this area when we were trying to figure out, hey, are we done selling down? And I said, well, you got to wait till it breaks down on the daily. So the 4-hour and hour really aren't going to mean too much if we're still in deep red. And finally, when we started breaking down, we did have that relief rally. And this was before, this is when we were still, we got back to 116 with this relief rally. Now, we're back in deep red on the daily. So that's what makes me feel like, wouldn't be shocked if we get to like 96 this week, 97. It is what it is. That's kind of like what the data is saying here. This still, it's getting stronger. It's not like at this level yet when it was like really like, I felt like it was very, very painful right here when we were at like 100. We actually were at 100,000. Oh, no. We were at 106. Sorry, I misread that. It wicked down to 103 though. And that's when we got back. So yeah, I mean, daily chart does not look great either. So probably some, until this starts to break down, probably have that, downward trend still. Weekly. So this chart is something we've been looking at recently. The 50-day SMA, right? This is the area that we don't want to break down below and stay there. We don't want to stay here and start a downtrend below it, because that's really when every bear market is officially kind of started. You see here in December of 2021, broke down, stayed there, stayed below it for a very long time. We haven't broke down since March of 2023, right? And if you think about it, that's really when Bitcoin started to make its recovery. And so now we are just barely below it, but we have seen moments similar to this, right? If this wicks back, if the candle gets back up by Sunday, we've seen wicks that have teased below this, but we haven't finished below that. That's the biggest point there, right? You can go back here, even the cycle before that. What was this? Is this 2021? Okay, there it is. And then, yeah, right here, right around May 2018, when the bull market was completed, we went there until 2019. We kind of had up and down, right? So it's just something to keep our eyes on. I think it was Webdro that was telling me about the 50-day SMA. So appreciate you, sir, because definitely something for us to keep tracking. I don't think we do, but I mean, I don't like where we are right now. We'll see how we finish the week. That's going to be very, very important. All right, so that is Bitcoin. Ethereum is going to be very, very similar situation here. Let's see if it isn't. Let me reset this chart real quick just in case. And yeah, it is pretty. Wow, we're at 3250. So if Bitcoin gets below, we did wick down here to 3,057. It'd be crazy to be below 3,000, I think, in November, but it's definitely on the table, that's for sure. So Ethereum, same situation, guys. Really, it's heading down is what it looks like, and on all time frames, right? So that is where we are. Crypto bubbles. That just disappeared and dropped out of the top 100. That was interesting. But we got the ICP.
What was that?
Did you see it?
Yeah, it was craziest thing ever.
It's like, nope, you just lost your position in the top 100.
Goodness.
I don't know what coin it was, but that was pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie.
Go to the top 200. I gotta know. It's probably the biggest.
I mean, it was yeah, probably. AIA. Okay.
Okay.
That was funny, dude. Like that's pretty cool. Though. That's like it actually literally shows it disappearing and leaving the top 100 group. But yeah, looking at the average here, you're looking at about 4 to 7% on pullbacks for most of the majors here. Some of these newer people like Pump pulling back even more aggressively, 14%, Hyperliquid 10%, Virtual is about 14%. Some memes here. Pangu down about down 6.5%. Pepe down 7.4% there. Floki down 5.6%. Some of these utility tokens, OKB down 9%. Aster pulling back 8.6% there. Cardano down 5% here. IP Story Protocol down about 6%. HBAR down about 5.7%. And then ZCASH up 5.4%, along with XDC up 3.9%. So other than some of these outliers, Trump coin, of course, is up 3.1%. What the heck, man? Like, what was that? I feel like that was the start of the destruction of Risk On. Was that coin? You know what I mean? Like, after
Definitely
that, Risk
top.
On was just like, and it sucked because it was the beginning of the year. So we got there was just like nah. All right, top 200 here. Let's take a look here. AIA.
Soon. Why is there a soon there?
Welcome to the club. Soon. Oh my gosh. Soon is on fire. Now, this is not the same soon as the Spark ecosystem, I wouldn't think. No,
I mean, not in the top 200. I mean,
not yet. Soon, not yet. Yeah, soon is up 62.8%. You got Mina up about 19% there. Giggle meme coin actually coming back after CZ made that post about how it is just a meme coin. It's not wasn't deployed by the team, the actual educational company team or whatever. You got BAT up 10.3%, Maple up 4.2%, APEPE up 5.3%, AR up 14.3%, XPL down 20%. Ooh, that's a big old hit right there. Telegram up or down 11.7%. You got Toshi coin down 10.7%, Ape coin down about 4% here. Eigenlayer down 8%. So yeah, kind of a similar situation. Blue chips kind of down 4 to 7%, while the newer stuff, more speculative, is closer to 10% here. Merle's pulled back only 2%, so not too bad. Still sitting at about 32 cents, so solid there. Yeah, so that is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the alt market for you guys. And if you ever want us to check out a token in the crypto bubbles, just put it in the chat. We'll take a look at it.
Yep. Let's jump into the next thing here, where we kind of do the roll call here. So, sure I'm on the right thing here. All right. Let's kind of get into the roll call. So first on the show, we take the first comment of the show. We put it on a spreadsheet. That comment today is the great Tim Baker. He said, "Oh yes." Tim says, "I'm opening up a pest business in Florida and also a snakegone.com. Taking a break from crypto, but I'm studying it and watch." Yeah, Tim, are you hiring, buddy? Give me a job if these markets don't get any better, bro. I'll come down there and start messing up.
That would be a tough job. Pest and snake control in Florida. They got some big monsters down there, I'm sure.
Dude, my because we have an exterminator. He comes like every 3 months, and it seems like he has the easiest job. He sprays the front of my house. He sprays the back of my house. Yeah, I don't know. I've never been to Florida, so I don't know. These are just like giant like bugs.
I mean,
like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, the snakes is what I'd be worried more about, because I feel like Florida's weird. First of all, when you're walking around, it's like the humidity of a jungle. Secondly, there's so many exotic pet owners in Florida that like through the 80s and 90s, they just released like monkeys and boa constrictors. And so jaguars, panthers and stuff. Like it's has definitely like animals that are wild that shouldn't be there.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right. Shout out to Arita. Arita's here. I appreciate you being here. So hello. Hello. Shout out to you, my friend. WebDro is here. Shout out to WebDro. He's 4 days left to find out how hard Q4 will be. I can't wait for the weekly close. Yeah, the weekly close is something that a lot of people are saying as well. You're not the only one I actually heard say that, so that's awesome. We'll see what happens. But we're supposed to be in the super moon or this beaver moon or whatever it is. It's supposed to be cool. What's going on? ASAP Benji is here. Way to go, Tim. Bitcoin is Truth is here. 8 Abstract Vader time. So it's bull market time. Spindrift with the yo. K99 says, will Solana memes come back? It's actually a good question. So do you think like some of the older, the dog with hats, the slurfs and stuff like that, do you think they will ever come back?
I think that there's teams that are like doing stuff. Like Slurf does have a team that is like trying to keep that like alive. And I know that like memes shouldn't really have a team, but you do have a group of people that are like, you know, Sheeb had that as well. You know, with Shiba Inu or whatever, and Doge obviously had that because it was a chain. But if you have that, then yes. If you don't, I don't think a lot of them are, because Solana is just so saturated. Even like the memes that went to 100 million are saturated.
Yeah.
And which was impressive, by the way. There was so many that went to 100 million, like Tramp and like ones that were like lower tier, they got to 100 million. And now getting to 100 million is like the biggest accomplishment ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I hear you. Shout out to Chips and Dip is here, my guy. Chief Axel, legendary. Stan says, is there an explanation for the ICP pump? Does I guess he means Omni have a token? Thanks. So Omni has the rich swap token, from my understanding. We're gonna be digging deep into those guys soon. We're trying to figure out exactly how to succeed over there in ICP, and that seems to be one of the places. So we're gonna be digging deeper into that for sure. Glasshopper is here. Shout out to Glasshopper. Stan says Agent Hustle clearing the shelves. What is he talking about? Clearing the shelves. AI at the supermarket? Like, I don't
clearing the shelves.
Clarify that a little bit, Stan.
Yeah. Need to maybe like shaking people out, unbelievers.
Gotcha.
Out. That's the closest thing I can come up with.
Binance wiped out the ICP long leverage, and now it can fly. WebDro says we all want the close above the 50 SMA, but it seems too easy. That would mean multiple green weeks in a row. Yeah. Multiple week and EMA. Yeah, I'm damn 107. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Stan says Binance is a gift and a curse. They're just a leading exchange, right? I mean, I don't think, this is what it is. If someone's dumping massive amount of Bitcoin on your exchange, there's nothing you can do but pay them out, right? And then what are you going to do with that? You're going to send it to Wintermute. So Mo ICP is here. Stan says many speculating ICP was being manipulated. How far can this rip? ICP is on a run right now. I'm looking over it. It's almost $7.
Yeah. Well, it goes
there's
up.
Always
must come
why
down.
Can't
though.
we ever find these? Why can't we ever find these before they pump? Like, why wasn't I buying this at $2?
I mean, you had to speculate that the caffeine AI thing was gonna be that big, and to be fair, it was teased a ton at the beginning of this year.
Yeah,
so.
Cash Cats is here with the coffee and the donuts and the dog. Go to the moon. Shout out to Cash Cats, my guy. Appreciate you, my friend. Super fan is here. Myself says you guys remember Z Classic. It's a ZCASH fork. It had a nice pump and dump in 2017. I wasn't around back then. Did you ever hear that?
Not ZCASH, not Z Classic, but I mean, like there was classic everything. Ethereum Classic, Z Classic. People were just forking all types of stuff. Especially Bitcoin got forked so many times.
Yeah.
But he's saying that this was a fork of Zcash. No, but not surprised pump and dump, especially during that period.
Sure. Myself says Monero can be mined by anyone. It's CPU based. In fact, there's thousands of websites that you will use your CPU power to mine Monero. Yeah, but there was this Canadian company that just took all their Bitcoin miners and put them all on Zcash and then change something.
Monero.
I don't know. Yeah, Monero. Yeah, Monero. WebDro says DCA hustle Solana leverage without the liquidation level.
Leveraging basically it's like what you used to say about stacks in Bitcoin.
Gotcha. Yeah. Webdro, Cash Cat says, Tim has the right idea. I started an auto detailing paint correction biz. Crypto has been fun a few years, but I am so far from retirement now. At least I am my own 9 to 5. So he's basically saying he has his own 9 to 5 detailing cars, and Tim's doing it. Yeah. I don't know. We technically have our own 9 to 5 as well.
Yeah.
So you got to be doing something. Like, I feel like if
Exactly.
you're just depending on crypto without any income,
Right now,
right
now it's like, right now is the hardest. It can be it can be even harder if you do have your own business, because it depends on what that business is. But I agree with you, and I think that's awesome that you started that business. And I have respect for like people that go into entrepreneurship. It's not easy at all. So congrats on that. And that, look, the market will turn at some point. Remember 2023, that's all I'll say. 2 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, it did, right? It really started in January of 2023. And then it didn't stop until, I mean, I don't know, I guess you could say now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Bitcoin's just been up only since since
and we caught
2023.
and we caught a ecosystem that was really just ramping up for that year.
Yeah.
So you can
Well,
do
it was
that.
new. I think that's what it's about. It's like getting into new stuff. I feel like that's a lot. There's nothing there yet. Like, in every ecosystem, there's always a top coin. There's always a top NFT project. There's always a top this, a top that, right? And I feel like sometimes in those ecosystems, it's all there is. Like, for instance, this morning I was doing research on Aptos. I played an Aptos in 2023, and I was like, I wonder if there's anything there. And I mean, you can't do anything. I mean, you can go there, you can stake your Aptos. There's they got like a Lido version. They have basically everything ETH has, right? But their own forks of it. And there's nothing you can do. The top NFT collections are the top NFT collections. Like, that's it. Like, but I feel like if you're able to get them, the top meme coin, the top NFT collection really cheap, I feel like that's how you win, especially in non-fun markets. And that's how we succeeded over there, right? It did actually go way past than we expected. But it was one of those things where we didn't get out in time either, right? So
yeah. Well, I mean, there was definitely stuff that we did, for sure, multiple things. But like the problem with that, first of all, is that it was its own bull market, kind of mini bull market, and we didn't realize that part, right? But definitely cleaned up on sats, cleaned up on node monks and different things like that. But yes, there was definitely probably more opportunities for sure. But we were thinking 4-year cycle, So like, when you think 4-year cycle and you don't realize that some of these really specific ecosystem bull runs can happen, that throws your whole train of thought off, right? So use that next time, right? That's the biggest lesson learned there.
Yeah, I'm done thinking like that. I'm no longer looking at past patterns, right? I'm just gonna look at my portfolio and say, am I happy? Will this get me through the next couple of years? I think that's kind of what it is. Webster says, any interest in tokenizing ordinals? Yes. I want to tokenize ordinals and runes and take them everywhere besides Bitcoin. Like, I want to take everything. I want everything to be born on Bitcoin and then taken off. I think that's the dream. I don't know.
I think if the space would be more, open-minded about that and accepting of that, it's actually an awesome thing, to take something that was like, let's just say manufactured. That's what happens with products in regular retail. You manufacture a Louis Vuitton bag in Italy with all the good stuff, and then you send it out to the different countries to sell it in different storefronts, right? So that was always kind of my thought process on it. But crypto, just having that natural tribalism, I think, is what kind of kept that from. That's getting better though. To other places. So
I think you just cut out. Did I cut out or did you cut out?
I'm not sure. I saw us both. Our picture did the little circle thing.
Okay.
So
Gotcha. All right. I'm thinking about doing something there, but it's full of trust me, bro. From users' perspective, I guess he means Aptos, right?
ICP
or ICP. Is it more trust me? You should definitely hook up with the guys from Omnity. These guys seem to be really special when it comes to building over there. So, And
Really
it doesn't
smart.
feel that way. Yeah, for sure. It doesn't feel that way in that sense. But like I said, it was gonna be a shorter show today, guys. I don't really have much else. The news has been boring. It is the hard. I get to my computer around like today. I got like 8:05, and I sat here till like 9:30. I had nothing. Like I was like, I have no idea what we're gonna talk about on the show today. Came up with some stuff. Just kind of talking with Yagobi when he popped on, and then just really just that's it, guys. Like so the worst part of this area is there's just no news, and that's kind of why we pivoted to on-chain stuff in to begin with, because we couldn't find anything to talk about, and now we're even struggling to find stuff on every chain. So if you guys find anything, just DM me. If you're like, yo, I'd love to hear your opinion on this. Send us messages. We'll put it for the next show. Right now, it's definitely the hardest because there is no. Why would you put out any type of breaking news or anything right now that's not negative, right? There's no positive news out because you wait to drop your news until Bitcoin's a little bit more bullish. So, but again, that's our show. Really appreciate all you guys every single day. It means a lot.
Yep. But we'll still be here every single day. That is for sure. Monday through Friday, at least. And, hanging out with you guys. That's always a fun time. But we appreciate all you guys, supporting us during the slower times. Always, really, right? We appreciate your support. But we couldn't do this without you guys and also our partners. So if you could check them out, we would greatly appreciate it. Emblem Vault is the interoperability layer for the Bitcoin ecosystem. If you are looking to jump your Bitcoin ordinals or Bitcoin NFTs like counterparty NFTs, rare Pepes over to Ethereum, you got to use Emblem Vault. They have the most experience in the space. They've been doing this since 2021, and so they know it all. They know how to make it a smooth experience for you guys. And right now, you can actually take a loan out against your Taproot Wizards on the Gandhi application, which is the largest borrowing and lending NFT app on Ethereum right now. The Emblem team is going to open this up to other layers and environments, including Solana. And speaking of Solana, they have the best AI product in the Solana ecosystem with agenthustle.ai. With Agent Hustle, you can ask him to find you some gems in the Solana ecosystem, and he's going to bring back some options for you. And he'll give you reasons why that he picked these. Also, there's a conditional trading engine built in Agent Hustle, so you can set buy and limit orders with these meme coins or any coins on the Solana ecosystem. There is a free level of subscription, but you are limited to a small amount of prompts and then the tool sets as well. If you want the better tool sets and more prompts, there is paid versions. You can actually pay with the Hustle token, which is a single token that powers their entire ecosystem. Also, Hustle is now live on Hedera Hashgraph. They have partnered with their foundation over there to make that a thriving product in Hedera. So you can actually use it for Hedera in the conditional, I think products can be available with that very, very soon. We're going to do a breakdown tutorial on how to use that. But yeah, you can kind of learn what's happening over on Hedera. It's exciting, but they're also about to make the EVM side live as well. So a lot more environments. I think Hustle has a huge opportunity to be a one-stop shop. It's all about convenience for humans, right? Everybody wants more and more convenience. That's why we love smartphones and all these things. And that's what Hustle can be, in my opinion. There is another product within the Hustle ecosystem called migrate.fun. If you launched a token on one of the launch pads in Solana, like Pump Fund or Bonk.fun or Believe, and you want to migrate to another launch pad, they can help you get that liquidity that's stuck out. Obviously, your community needs to be on board with that and migrate to the other platform that you want to be on, or you can just manage your own LPs and get as many fees as you possibly can by doing that. Right now, they're in the middle of the second cohort, some big brands in this cohort. If you are interested, head over to migrate.fun or emblem.vision, reach out to the team and let them know, and they will guide you through the next steps. So check those websites out to learn about all the products in the Emblem ecosystem. And then migrate.fun is not migrate.fun, merlinchain.io. Merlin Chain is uniting Bitcoin's strength through the power of AI. They have their Wizard version 2.0 that guides you through the Merlin Chain ecosystem. It can do DeFi functionalities on your behalf, but it also can swap outside of the ecosystem for Solana tokens or BSC tokens as well. All you got to do is have some Merlin Bitcoin in there. And then going back to DeFi functions within Merlin, it can do swapping and staking. They do have a proof of stake security model, and you can participate in 3 different ways. The first way is to stake Bitcoin to earn more Bitcoin. Their first staking vault closed September 30th, and they were able to get 17% APR for their stakers in that first vault. Amazing APR for staking Bitcoin. The second one is open right now. They are going to be shooting for that same kind of APR. It's going to be a minimum of 8 and maximum of 21% APR. It's open until January 8th. So just know that if you want to get into that. And then there's 2 staking vaults for the Merlin Chain token itself. The first one is the flexible, a day-to-day staking vault where you earn 15% APR. You can claim your rewards daily, and you can compound interest those if you want, or you can sell them, or you can keep them in your wallet, whatever you want to do with that. There is a 7-day cooldown period if you want to withdraw your Merlin tokens, though. Just know that for the flexible. And then the last option is the bonded option, which is a 6-month lockup option. You earn 45% APR. Same thing, though. You can claim your rewards daily. You can compound interest those if you'd like, or sell them or keep them in your wallet, whatever you want to do with that. But the tokens are locked up for 6 months, so just know that. And check out merlinchain.io to learn about their ecosystem, and follow them on X so you can hear about their latest and greatest updates. And we thank you guys so much for checking out our partners.
Yep, great job, man. As always, if you guys have a few more minutes, I wouldn't mind checking out OnChainRevolution.io. Some of the best articles going all the way back to 2023. If you know someone just entering the space, please send them our website. We really feel like it can help them get started and code up to where we are today. Definitely check out this brand new article that just dropped this week, Crypto Sentiment Outlook. Really kind of gets into everything that's happening right now. So definitely want to check that out. It's about a 3 to 6 minute read. You can knock it out very, very quickly depending on how fast you read. I'm on the slower side of that, so I'm sure you guys can knock it out in the full in like 3 or 4 minutes. So definitely check that out. And I got articles going all the way back every week. You want to learn about X402, you want to learn about everything else here, check out all the articles. And if you guys need a VPN, I highly recommend NordVPN. I use it every single day. You should definitely use it. Use the VPN, right? So there's free ones out there. You guys can try them, or you can get this deal right here, which is, you get about 27 months for about $70. Lock it in. It's like an average of $3 a month. So you lock that in for set it, forget it. And now you're able to use Hyperliquid. Now you're able to use MEXC. Now you're able to use anything that has ever geo-blocked you in the past. So definitely want to get a VPN to check that stuff out for sure. And if you guys can check out our merch, we have some of the best merch in all of crypto: hats, shirts, jackets, and so much more. You guys can check everything out here at OnChainRevolution.io. Remember, guys, we are live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, and I think it's 4 p.m. UTC because we had the double check that. But definitely check us out, guys. See you guys tomorrow.
Peace.
OnChain Revolution roll call. Market recap. You not bullish enough, no. You're not bullish enough, no. Look at the price go. Bitcoin controlling. Why you still coping? Price action rolling. Don't fall for bear trap. Swapping indexes and putting it up in the sex. I can take profit right now. OnChain is where I be now. You can never look back. They don't want you to know. How did the market react? Fear and greed gotta adapt. Now we bridging the tokens and marching the network right now. You know how crazy we are. Nookies are savages now. They know how crazy we are. Chain abstraction, main attraction. OnChain Revolution.